Hello and welcome to episode 21 of The Formula. Today we're going to be talking about something that our sales guys use now, which is a really good way of getting your prospects to take your next follow-up calls a lot more seriously than they probably are right now. Hello and welcome to episode 21 of The Formula. I'm your host, Nick Boddington. We've met many times before. If not, I hope you enjoy these. We've got another 20 episodes before this. This episode is based on something that I've just literally had a meeting with our sales guys about to make sure they're all still doing it. And the problem with sales is that you forget to do things, even when those things are the things that are working. And it's about creating a habit. Now, the problem with most salespeople, A, they've never been trained. B, they're not listening if they are being trained. And C, they seem to think they know it all anyway. I've got a bubbly personality, I'm going to be able to do what I want. I'll be able to sort it. A lot of the time it doesn't work. You've really got to learn everything and you've got to create the good habits and get out of the bad habits. Because unfortunately, whether it's sales or all aspects of life, it's those bad habits that stop you from doing things correctly. Whether you're going into fitness, whether you're at the gym, bad habits cause injuries in the gym, all this sort of stuff. It's the same as sales. You'll miss out on stuff if you're not doing it properly. So this is really about the follow-up. So I'm not going to talk about the cold call or that sort of stuff or wherever it came from. This is about the follow-up. And it's a really good way of getting the prospect to take your next follow-up a lot more seriously. So a lot of what we get, 80% of the stuff we do is incoming. Yes, we still make the cold calls, but let's work off an incoming. So an incoming comes in, and we base it on a free trial. So we put our ads out there that people can get a free trial of our prospect data. Why? Because, and you should use this, because sales is always about a problem. Now, we found in our industry the problem is that most people have been stung buying prospect lists for marketing and sales purposes. Why? Because the data is usually a load of rubbish. It's really old. They buy it. None of the contacts are there. Telephone numbers don't work. So what we do is we offer a free trial to get that person to trust us, to know that our quality is good and it delivers results. So first call might be 15, 20-minute call, creating the report, discussing the business needs with the prospect, discussing where they're wanting their business to go. We've looked at that. We've looked at the goals of what your prospect's trying to do. When you finish the call, I want you to organize your next follow-up. Now, the problem is most people will finish a call with nothing else to go on. And salespeople very early on, and I suppose salespeople when they class themselves as successful as well, or been in it a long time, is they forget about how to go in with a follow-up call correctly. So your follow-ups really slow down. You don't want to follow up because you haven't got anything to go on. So you're calling the prospect back again. And, hi, I just want to make sure you got everything. I haven't had a chance to look through it yet. Okay, great. Okay, so one, he or she just aren't interested. You've done nothing to capture their interest in that first call or on the information you've sent over. You've not kept it really nice and warm. One thing that I use to get around this is Outlook. Outlook email is what we use. Now, you might use Gmail, you might all these other, I don't use those, so I don't know how they work. I'm sure they have the same facility somewhere in there. You'll know better than I do, or Google it. On Outlook, on the bottom left-hand side, you can arrange a meeting, like an appointment date. So when you create this, it sends the prospect or whoever you're trying to send an email to, and it creates that meeting date. So you might put in there 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're going to discuss this, and in there you don't just write call with your company or call with Jake at X company. You want to carry on when we've talked about email subject lines on follow-up emails. You want to talk about what that prospect is trying to gain, what their goals are. So you want to put in there stuff along the lines of their goals, looking to create my 6 sales. Their goal might be to create 6 salespeople to hit their target or double the target or bring another £6,000 a month in revenue or a day in revenue or whatever it might be. You need to put your subject line in that email of the invitation on what their goal is. MIB is going to increase your sales team revenue by £6,000 a month. This is how. invite them to it, and they will get an email their end to accept that invitation. Okay? So you finish the call, you've said to the call, okay, when can we next talk about this? You've set them tasks to do. You're going to go away, you're going to find out what geography you want to target, you're going to find out how much of this particular product you want to buy, you want to look at when you want to start the server, whatever it is, you give them a task to go away with, and then we're going to catch up. When's good for you? Wednesday. What time Wednesday? 11 o'clock. Don't just start it with, give me a call tomorrow, because you're never going to get hold of them. Give me a call next Wednesday. You're never going to get hold of them. Trust me. A prospect will very, very, very rarely call you back. Do not be under any impression, and do not assume that when they say, I'll give you a call back tomorrow, it won't happen. It just, on the occasions it does, if one of you just said, well, actually someone called me back yesterday. If that's happened, then great. But literally on 99% of the time, it doesn't happen. So you really need to give them those tasks to do. So you're going to go away and you're going to look at blah, blah, blah. Let's catch up tomorrow. It's 11 o'clock. Is that a good time with you? Are we getting that in the diary now? Yeah, let's get that time in the diary. Then you go to Outlook and you open up the calendar with the meeting alert and you write your subject line, you put in the date for 11 o'clock on tomorrow on the Wednesday, and you invite them. They'll then accept that invitation with comments or without. They might put comments or something else they want to discuss. They'll send it back and it will diarise in your Outlook calendar. I'm sure this works for other email platforms. Now, I think this works really, really well. My sales guys believe it works really, really well. But I have to keep on them. I have to keep on with everything. It's just the way it is. Until they've got really so much experience and they've knocked out those bad habits and they just keep us with the good ones, we always slip. It's really easy to slip into the old habits of whatever we do. And you know I'm right. Slipping back is so easy to do. When you set this Outlook alarm, that person will start getting alarms. I think it's like an hour beforehand. So an alarm will pop up in the bottom left hand of their screen saying in an hour's time you have call with X at MIB or wherever your company called is, and that will then count down so that you'll close that, and then 10 minutes before, I think it stays on a 10, 9, 8, 7. Not always will they be there to pick up the phone, but the chances are they're seeing that, they're at their desk or in a meeting, they see this, and they're starting to think about what that next conversation is with you. You've set those tasks, they're ready for it. 9 times out of 10, they'll answer the phone when you're calling. Don't be late on it either. If you've promised 11 o'clock, be there for 11 o'clock. Don't call 10 minutes before because they're in a meeting. And definitely don't call 10 minutes after. Just call at 11 o'clock. You've got your alarm there. You know it's there. If it's break time, a cup of tea time, whatever, sack it all off. Make that call. It will work. That person will be more receptive to speak to the next thing. And you need to go into that next conversation with things to ask of what is going to take you down that sales cycle to get to the goal of the sale. They want you to do that. They want some structure in the call. No one wants to speak to a salesperson that's just all airy-fairy, not knowing what to do. Keep the structure there. Go in with more open questions. Get closes to those questions. And then when you finish that call, get the next stages of the conversation. If you can't close them on that, and it's not saying that you can, a lot of our sales process can take 6 to 8 weeks for the close, but it's creating the next steps. It might be that, for instance, they've had the free trial from us. We want to talk about the free trial. We want to talk about what they're expecting of the free trial. They may have not had time in the first call. When you finish that call, great. So how long is it going to take you to look at the free trial, look at the service? Okay, it's going to take us 5 days. Great. Well, let's have it. When should we have a call? Next Tuesday? What time is good for you? Same time as this, 11 o'clock. Great. We'll talk about what your findings are, how you found the data, what any leads you got from it, and then you're taking it further. So that's a really good way of starting that follow-up process, and it makes the prospect take it a lot more seriously. And I know that it works for me. Every day I'm looking at different things to move our company forward, different platforms, different marketing strategies. I go onto the webinars, I start listening. If you're used to webinars do it. They give you a countdown, emails from a couple of days before, counting down to it. I've got one starting in a minute. In fact, it has just started. I can see it going on the screen here. And I'm getting ready for it. Okay? So that's what I want you to do. I want you to look at that Outlook calendar. I want you to get next step tasks ready. I want you to go forward. It will work. Trust me, it will work. Good luck, and I'll see you next time. In the meantime, thanks for following. Subscribe to my button below. If not, Alicia, I think she puts one up on the screen here, which you can just click. Keep subscribing. I'm on Snapchat. I'm recording on Facebook at the moment. You can see all this. I'm trying to get as many places as possible. Thanks again. I'll see you on episode 22.